All right, grade sixes. This is lesson 3, drawing triangles. Now, before you even start this lesson, you are going to need a protractor and some kind of ruler that has centimeters on it that's easy to see. I'm just using my set that came in my geometry set. So you will need these two pieces, and you're going to need either a really sharp pencil that you've sharpened, nothing dull, or what's even better is a mechanical pencil. All right, so make sure that you hunt down those before you even start. All right, I'm going to, the first page 15 and 16 are actually demonstrations. Okay, it's steps on how to solve something, how to draw a triangle. All right, now we need to remember that a triangle consists of 3 sides and 3 angles. So there is a matter of 6 pieces of information in a triangle. 3 sides plus 3 angles. Now to draw one, okay, to draw a triangle, only 3 pieces are needed. Let me write it like that. Are needed. So 2 angles a side, 2 sides an angle, 3 sides, and we'll talk about 3 angles, right? Those sorts of things. But you need 3 pieces of information, all right? And so they write them, they usually give you it in a little paragraph that looks like that. It tells us that we have a scalene triangle. So scalene triangle tells me that all my sides are going to be different, right? Scalene, isosceles is 2, equilateral is 3. And this triangle is called an MNP. Those are the vertexes, the corners on my triangle. I have a length that goes from M to N, that is 4.5 centimeters. I have this angle here that's on this end here is 40 degrees. And then there's another length, one of the other 2 sides is an MP, which is 3.7 centimeters. So they always give me 3 pieces of information. 1, 2, 3. Now, you do not have to use them in the order that they gave you, all right? Now, rule number 1 is that you are always going to start with a side. The problem with that is if I started with 40-degree angle. What is an angle made up of? Sides, 2 sides that happen to be 40 degrees apart, right? So you have to start with a side. A side, let me write that better. So when you're drawing your picture, you're going to start with a side. And then you're going to draw an angle, and then you're going to use whatever's left over. Because usually they're going to give you an angle, some kind of either 2 angles and a side, or 2 sides and an angle. All right. I think in the assignment you have to draw something that has 3 sides or 3 angles. I think something like that. But by then you'll be able to do it. So these first ones are always going to start with sides, 2 sides and an angle, or 2 angles and a side. So you're going to start with that. Now, you're always going to label things as you go. So the first step, number 1 here, is they say to just kind of draw a little sketch of what it looks like. All right. Scalene triangle, right, means that all my sides are going to be different. I've got a side that's a little longer than another side, right? I always tend to start my bottom along the side. Now the problem with drawing a little picture, it's not very accurate, but sometimes you go, I have no idea. I have no idea what this triangle is supposed to look like. All right, so I'm going to pretend that you don't have a clue what that triangle looks like, and we're going to sketch it onto this little card right here using the information that we have. Okay, so on my little card we're going to pick one of the sides. Now, what side do I want to pick? Now, you're always going to pick one of the sides that is with the angle that they give you. I have an angle that's M. One of my sides says MN and the other side has MP. Well, that's good. Both of the sides use angle M. All right. So it really doesn't matter which ones you're going to use. All right. I'm going to use the number 1 just because it's longer. Makes no difference, right? But I'm going to choose that. And I'm going to use my ruler and I'm going to accurately draw because my triangle is going to be up here, right? So I'm going to move it down to the bottom and I'm going to accurately draw 4.5 centimeters. So this is where a sharp pencil comes in so that you are accurate as possible because you're missing 3 of the other sides. So if you draw these sloppily, you won't be able to label the other sides because your measurements will be out. All right? So there is my 4.5 centimeter line. Start at 0 and I go to 4.5, which is just right there. And I'm going to now label this immediately. It says M to N. This side is M, that side is N. Those are my dots on each corner, like that. Because as soon as I label that, then I can use another piece of information. I know that I have an angle. So step number 1 is always to start with a side. Step number 2 is to use the angle now. Now, which side am I going to put my angle on? It says angle M is 40 degrees. This is my M, that's my N. I'm going to put my angle on this side. So I'm going to put my little vertex of my protractor right there on the corner. I'm going to line this up with my line. And I'm going to go 40, right? And I'm going to go start from 0. And I'm going to go up to 40. And I'm going to put a little tick at 40. 0, 10. And I'm drawing from this line up to 40, right there. Okay? And I'm going to put a little tick. Now, this angle is 40, but it tells me that this angle here, now I could just draw it out. You could just take a line and draw it out. I'm going to do it lightly. And the reason I'm going to do that lightly is this line right here, according to this starts with M, and it's going to end up at P somewhere along here at exactly 3.7 centimeters. So now if I put my ruler on here, I can figure out exactly where 3.7 centimeters is. There's my dot. I currently drew an 8 centimeter line, right? 3.7567, the second one. There is where my triangle actually ends, right there. And I'm going to erase right up to that line, because I don't need that full line. I only need 3.7. Now I'm going to go back and I'm going to label these now. This side here is 4.5 centimeters. We label sides on the outside, angles on the inside. This right here is 3.7 centimeters. And the angle gets labeled on the inside as 40 degrees. Make sense? And so using those 3 pieces, see how the 3 pieces of information is enough for me to go, hey, I need to connect these 2 together and finish my triangle. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to label, right? So I'm going to do an angle, then I'm going to use the 3rd piece of information, right? Which is the MP, M, oh, I'm going to put a P up there because it goes M to P, 3.7. And then the 4th thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label everything that's left. Okay? And usually it's 3 pieces of information. Because they gave you 3 pieces, there are 3 pieces of information left. Right? The easy one would be to measure the side length here. And again, I got 3 centimeters. So I'm going to write that on the outside. I'm next going to measure my angles. All right. Now, triangles always need to add up to 180. So this is not going to be completely accurate because you are drawing it by hand, but try your best to get them to add to 180, right? Triangles equal 180 degrees. All right, 180 degrees. And do we know why triangles add to 180 degrees? Give me a moment. After this question, I'm going to prove to you why they add to 180 degrees. But anyways, I'm going to measure. Again, my little thing goes on the corner. Line that up with this line here. And I'm going to read from this line up to that line. Okay? So I'm using the inside one, right there, and it gets me about here. So I'm going to eyeball it to be about 55 degrees. Again, you may be within a couple degrees of me, right? They aren't going to be absolutely perfect. So if I take 180 and I subtract 40 and I subtract 55, this top angle should be around an 85 degree if I did it correctly. So I'm going to turn my thing and I'm going to go like that. Hey, look at that. It's right there. I'm on my line. I go up. Look at that. I'm pretty close. Look at that. 85 degrees. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to put my 85 degree in there. There's all 6 of my pieces labeled. So I need letters on all my corners. I need all my sides labeled. I need 3 letters, 3 angles, 3 sides for my labeling. Okay? Look at that. And all these steps right here did exactly what I just did. All right? And then they did this, but they didn't finish the question like we did. All right? And they also give you a little quick review at the bottom, right? Start with a side, go to an angle, draw your other third piece of information. All right? So we got this next one. So this was our example first one. This one here says use a ruler and a protractor, construct triangle EFG. So, oh, there we are. EFG. And then they give me 3 pieces of information again. 1, 2, 3. They give me a side, an angle, and a side. Seems correct? I'm going to go in the order they present them, because our order is always side, angle, and then whatever's left over. Side, angle, whatever's left over. All right? So I'm going to go in the order they have it there. And again, I'm going to put it on a little card because it just makes my life easier. I can move it up then, right? I can put it over here. And you can see the directions and me drawing it out. So first thing I'm going to construct is side E to F. And I'm going to use 7 centimeters. And again, I'm going to draw it at the bottom so I can go upward. 7 centimeters, 0 all the way to 7. Okay, put a slight dot there, and I'm going to label it so that I don't forget what it is. And I go left to right, E to F, and it is 7 centimeters. All right, if you don't draw it out perfectly, right, 7 centimeters. Within 1 or 2 millimeters, I'm okay with, but if you drew me a 5 centimeter line, that's not going to cut it, right? Your triangle is going to be totally different. All right. We've got a 90-degree angle. So this one is not a scalene triangle. Actually, it could be a scalene triangle if all my sides are different, but it is a right triangle, whereas this guy here was acute. All my angles were less than 90 degrees. So this one was a scalene and it was acute. So we know for sure that this guy is at least a right He is at least a right. And I suspect, we have two sides that are different, I suspect he will be a scalene also. But let's check it out. So where do I put my 90-degree angle? Well, not on the left-hand side this time. I'm going to put it on the right-hand side where it says angle F.